Hi guys, welcome to the video. Today we're talking all things children's illustrators. So I'll show you some of our books and yeah, we'll talk through that. And I also want to introduce you to our new puppy. So I was planning to do some different videos this week, but I already had this one filmed and we ended up getting a little Christmas addition to the family. So I haven't had as much time to film this week as I wanted, but this is a collection of some of our favorite children's books, and I really love the illustrators, the way that they create and bring to life these characters. So we will look through some of these. So I follow a lot of illustrators on Instagram. I love their work. I love seeing what they create. Also, and so you can see like these are some of our favorite books. But also one notable book that I did not put in this video. I couldn't find it for the video, but I will put it in another video. But it's Brambly, Hedge. We absolutely love that book. It's one of our all-time favorites and we read it probably every night for 4 years. So yeah, that's a great book if you're looking for a gift for someone. But I highly recommend all of these. They're full of just beautiful imagery. So of course we have Eric Carle in there, the Very Hungry Caterpillar. This one is about seahorses and we love it because of the vellum. I love a book with vellum. So the kind of fish are hidden behind these kind of seaweed and kind of sea world illustrations. And yeah, I love the way that he creates a lot of his illustrations with collage papers. So he will paint and create the papers first and then create the illustrations. This is a favorite. This one is by illustrated by Melissa Sweet, and she has got to be one of our all-time favorite illustrators. So the things that she brings into the book are so beautiful, and the way, like, I'll read a little bit about this little lion and the lamb in a minute, but the way that she thinks through and really works on the illustrations, it all starts for her with a research, quite heavily researching who she is illustrating the book about, and all kinds of interesting facts about their life. So obviously some of it was already in the story, but she really likes to go deeper. She went to see, so this is about Horace Pippin, and she went to see his artworks in person. I'll read you a little bit about what she said. So she says, typically, I love reading her illustrator's notes at the back. She says, typically authors and illustrators stay fairly separate when making a picture book, but after Jen wrote this text, we backed the tide by researching Horace Pippin together. Driving through the back roads of eastern Pennsylvania, we shared what we both knew and loved about art and Pippin. His story came to life as we talked to curators who knew his work, looked at Pippin's paintings and his burnt wood panels, and visited his home in Westchester, so in Pennsylvania. The illustrations for this book were rendered in watercolor, gouache and collage inspired by Pippin's deep, rich colors. When it came time to illustrate the art supplies he won in the contest, I knew the actual ones were long gone, but I was so struck by that moment. It brought back all the excitement I felt as a child with a new box of crayons, a ream of construction paper and a tin of coloured pencils lined up in consecutive hues. I recreated the brushes and pencils which I carved from basswood and painted to look as realistic as the ones Horace might have received. I learned too that once he got those art supplies, Pippin used them to make small oval paintings on muslin of Bible scenes. I've imagined one of those paintings on the title page. So she also goes on to say how she loved his words and put a lot of that text into the book and the illustrations as well. So, and you can see this is a little book of poems that she illustrated. And I just love the way she's created different ideas for these different poems and different thoughts. I love this one here. This is on the last page. So just stunning work she does. I really love it. This one here is one of our favourites as well. This is Rogets Thesaurus, and again Melissa Sweet illustrated. So she illustrated all three of these, and you can see just the amount of work that she puts into each page, each collage. And again, like thinking through, like she's given us a little timeline of him growing up here. So again, she says in the illustrator's note, if there were just one word from Rogets Thesaurus to describe making this book, it would be thunderclap, found under 872, prodigy, phenomenon, wonder, marvel, miracle, spectacle, sign, portent, thunderclap. The proverbial thunderclap sounded at the start of my research when I held Rogets' original 1805 word book in my hands. On each page, Roget had drawn a vertical red line separating a numbered entry from its opposite. There were thousands of words carefully handwritten with nary a cross out. It was an auspicious beginning. She talks about the Latin lists were from his notebooks. The other lists were found in the first edition of his 1852 Thesaurus. And she explained that he put in the beginning he put the words in not in the alphabetical order as a dictionary, but according to the ideas which they expressed. And then she says it would be hard to equal how poetic these entries are as one idea leads to another. So she says the ideas of classification and scientific illustration crept into my collages along with imagery from Roget's Bridgewater treatise, old botanicals, vintage papers, book covers, type drawers, watercolour and mixed media. So those are all the things that she used. And then she said the back end papers list so the back end papers of the book list Roget's 1,000 words with an abbreviated plan of classification. His original list had 103 words, but Roget, a stickler for symmetry, created subcategories for 3 of the words, so giving him a neat 1,000 ideas. And then she just says her great thanks to the people who generously shared their collections, etc., and bookbinding things. And then she finishes it off by saying her thanks using a 734, prosperity, good fortune, halcyon, lucky. Indeed, lucky is the right word, and I hadn't even heard of the word halcyon before, but it's got a beautiful meaning, denoting a period of time in the past that was idyllically happy and peaceful. So what's interesting is, like, just through this book, you're bringing to children these deeper ideas of like how hard this man worked to collect and collate all these words. Just he was interested in, just collecting words and categorizing them, and how important that's been for thousands of people. I think like a thesaurus, you're always using one. If you go to school and you're writing like a paper or something, you're always looking at the thesaurus for different words that you can use. So I find it so interesting that came from this man really wanting to do that. And then the way that she really researches so many different little things and puts those into her books, it's really lovely. So this is a book, I think she wrote this one herself and illustrated it. She's an exceptional writer, as well, as you can see from the illustrator's notes. She also wrote another favourite, which I didn't put in this video, which is E.B. White, which is for sort of older kids. Yeah. It's just a really nice, sweet story, and the illustrations are really interesting. Like, they've taken giraffes, but they've really created this theatrical world for them, and yeah, it's just a nice, and again, like another twist on the way that you can create characters. And then this one is also, you can see, one of our favourites. This one and Brambly Hedge both have been sort of really well loved. And this one he wrote along with his wife, so she picked the poems and he wrote the book, and then Olivia Gill illustrated it, but the illustrations are so beautiful. And so he's taken his wife's childhood, she's told him kind of stories, and I've probably like showed him where she's lived, and he's written this story, and then the illustrator has come in and just created this really magical world around these stories. It really brings it to life. It's so, so beautiful. You can see an immediate difference from like Melissa's Sweet. The colours are a little less bright, less saturated, not as bright, more natural, and just more things as she would have found them and experienced them as a kid, romping around the landscape there and the meadows. That little lamb poem, I think, has been one of our most read poems in the book. I really love the variety in being able to go from because I think I kind of also fall into this category in my art as well. I like to go from the bright paintings and colours, and then to kind of the more subdued neutrals. So I think it's really interesting. It's very sketch based, which is just really nice. They've got flip outs in here, there's vellum. It's just a really beautiful book. So it's just such a beautiful, happy book, and it's honouring his wife but also sharing that really happy childhood with everyone. So it's really lovely. And then this one is how the Hibernators came to Bethlehem, and I don't know much about the illustrator, but I feel like this is so pertinent and perfect for Christmas time. I really wanted to keep this until New Year's Christmas Eve, but haven't been able to get any other things filmed. But I really love this. I think it is one you could read to kids on Christmas Eve, and the whole thing is obviously illustrated beautifully, but it's also got this colour narrative with this silver star. So the way that she has kind of illustrated it, and then the authors talk about it being a silver wand that's glistening, and a silver pass key, and I think one of them talks about a silver feather, and all the different ways that they can illuminate this colour and this star shape. And it's just really beautiful, the way that it's going in and waking all the animals, and that it's brightly singing to them. So it's just a very beautifully constructed book. Yeah, you can see it here. A silver feather tapped him between the eyes. He sneezed so loudly the star twinkled. So the whole thing is kind of this beautiful prose, and the illustrations bringing it all to life. So I did get a question last week about like my normal Christmas painting advent calendar, which I haven't been able to do this year. We have a 13-year-old cat. His eyes haven't been very well, so he's required quite a bit of attention. So I just have not been able to kind of do painting videos, but I thought about painting the wreaths, and I've been really inspired by the dried hydrangea at the minute. So I just did this little painting, and I thought this would be really a nice kind of thing to do on Christmas cards that have like some watercolor, dot paints that you could put in the middle. And it's very simple to create, just groups of 2 or 3 leaves, and then just keep building those layers. And this is a really kind of, I would say, don't underestimate how important these kind of little exercises are in building compositional skills and color skills. So yeah, this is just a really lovely one to kind of practice and do for cards for this time of year. Also, how are your guys' Christmas preparations going? I hope everyone is doing well. I know it can also be a challenging time of year, so I hope these videos are helpful. And I am certainly thinking of you, especially I know that Christmas can be hard. So I wanted to share with you, this is our little puppy, and you can see this is the first day that we got her, and this is exactly what it felt like, just going everywhere. So she's a 16-week-old Bernese mountain dog, and we'd been looking at one of these for a while, but the thing that I think if you watched one of my other videos from the book advent this month, there's a little snippet, it might even just be in the first one, there's a little snippet of one of these. It's about a month older than her that we saw at the shops, and we stopped to chat with them for 15 minutes, and yeah, it was really nice. Then so we've gotten her, and she is already as big as our husky was. Not physically, but she weighs as much as our husky did, fully grown, and she's just a little puppy, so she doesn't really know the sort of her own strength, and yeah, so anyway, she walks in front of you, and it's like 10 bricks have just walked in front of you, so she's got to sort of be trained to walk next to you and all these things. So yeah, she bowled straight up to Rosie, our little dog, and Rosie was a bit taken back by that, so we're still working on getting them to play well together. At this point she's ready for a nap, but we were still building her cage, so we got her the extra large one so that she can just kind of have room in there. And yeah, so it says they require 4 hours of exercise a day, but I mean, we've had her outside almost, off and on, like all day, like it's been quite a lot, so we're kind of all taking turns with that. And then you can see this, our Rosie, this is our little Rosie, and then we've called her Millie, so yeah, there'll be more updates about that in future videos, I think. But anyway, I hope you guys are doing well, and I will see you. I do have another video I'd like to put out for this week, so I'll see if I can get that done, but otherwise have a really lovely weekend, and I will see you soon. Bye.